Alright, welcome back everybody. So today we're going to talk about the essentials of what you need to keep in your car to keep you from, being on the side of the road stuck. And any of you that's driving more than 10 minutes knows there's plenty of places out in the backcountry and most states that don't exactly have cell phone service. You could easily find yourself up shit creek and having to take a walk. And it's cold. It's cold. Like, this is the first day I've really had that it's been above 10 degrees. So let's get this started. What's the main two things that are the most likely things that are going to keep you on the side of the road or broke down? Number one, battery issues. Whether it be alternator not charging, or maybe you left a light on and your battery's dead, or it's super cold out like it is right now and it is completely dead. First thing you want is a jump box. The second thing, if you can swing it, a pair of jumper cables. If you can't afford a decent jump box, I like these Nikos. This is the best one that I could buy. I wanted to get the big one because when I was driving my my 7.3 Power Stroke, my little one was not going to jump it, and my little one's broke now. But I like this one. This one will jump just about anything you want. The only downside with this, and I found this out the hard way, that this charging port, if you take this whole thing apart, which is really difficult to do because it has triangle bit screws on it, fucking pain in the ass, but this is extremely fragile. I couldn't reach it, so I just grabbed the cord a little bit, tried to pull it toward me so I could grab it, not trying to pull super hard because I don't want to pull super hard. Well, the board is kind of floating in here. I don't know why they did that, but it's super fragile, and I broke the board on it. So this is my second one. I was pretty pissed because, like this USB-C charger port should not be floating like that if it's that fragile. But anyway, so great jump box, best one on the market, probably under $1,000. But you just gotta be careful with the charging port. So, good jump box will get you out of jam. If you can't afford it, get you a pair of jumper cables. I'm a little old school, so I like to keep both on me. You never know, if you ever have an issue. A lot of people say these ones won't jump a completely dead vehicle. All you have to do is hold this for 10 seconds, and it'll throw it into override, right? And it'll jump anything. You can hook this metal to metal and weld. I don't recommend doing that because you can cause a fire, and I have my mechanics toolkit right here. So the next thing you need is the next problem, tires, right? Whether it be a flat tire, low tire pressure, maybe you have to repair a tire on the side of the road here. And the first things first, to get the car up, to change the tire out, or to fix it or something, then you don't need to jack this heavy duty. This is the only one I've got. This is a Daytona 3-ton. Don't need something this heavy duty. Whatever will lift your vehicle, whether it be a little scissor, suicide jack. I recommend having a jack stand in your car as well, so you can jack it up, keep one side jacked up. And this will just keep the car from falling on you. Just put this under it. That way, especially if you're running like a scissor jack, those little twist scissor jacks. Yeah, those are pretty known for falling. So I would recommend. These aren't that expensive. Like, this is not something to die upon. Cars falling on you can kill you. Like, get you a jack stand. A cheap 3-ton from Walmart. Would you trust it? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't really trust this one a ton, but these Daytonas are pretty decent. Some people say they're made in the same factory as the Snap-ons. I don't know. I know Snap-on tried to sue Harbor Freight over it and they lost. So what does that tell you? The next thing, and this is kind of probably the biggest thing, is you need some way to add tire pressure, right? If you're stuck on the side of the road, you have a flat tire, you need to be able to add some pressure to that to get you going. There's not a ton you can do with a lot of stuff on the side of the road. Like, you're not doing a ton of, electrical diagnostics. You're dealing with tires and battery problems. So being able to put air in your tires is a crucial thing. I got this one because on my heavy duty truck, the tires needed to be put up to 80 psi. That little M12 Milwaukee wouldn't do that. They make ones that go into the cigarette port. They work perfectly fine. My mother rocks one. She's been rocking one for years, and they work great for her. Get you something decent that you can add or put your tires back up to tire pressure. The next thing, whether it be doing it by hand, but you need some way to break your tires free. I keep this in my car with all my power tools because it's easy for me and it makes my life easier. You don't need this, but some way to break your tires off, whether it be a lug wrench, a 1/2-inch socket and a 1/2-inch ratchet, something to take the lug nuts off. Figure out what size they are, keep the socket and the lug wrench, and you got to be able to tighten them back down too. Changing tires on the side of the road, it's got to be done, right? This just makes my life easier because I can bop, take them right off, nice and quick. This is kind of a luxury item. I like having a tarp in my car for multiple reasons. If I have to work, this ground is cold, right? Being able to put this down, not being directly on the wet road or the cold road, it's not really going to help you too much for insulation, but it helps enough that it's worth keeping. The other thing too is if you're stuck on the side of the road, maybe you're in a survival situation, this is just a good item to keep in your car at all times. In an emergency scenario, you could put this up as a small tent. Wouldn't really want to do that. This is just a cheapo O'Reilly's tarp. So worth keeping on you. Now, this one, the next one right here is I like to have some sort of tire repair kit. Now, it's not always guaranteed you can fix a tire on the side of the road, right? If you drive on it for more than like 5 seconds, it's going to tear out the sidewalls. If it's, it's got no air on it and you drive it for more than 5 seconds, you're not going to be able to repair it if it has a hole in the sidewall. But if you pull over, you notice you're extremely low on air, or maybe you're driving for more than, an hour or two, this will save you a trip to a repair shop, right? You can pull over and get this job done yourself. If you got a nail in it or something, then you can pull this out yourself. Now, I got some other stuff set up here. Give me a second. This also goes hand in hand with this, a good multi-tool, right? You need a good pair of pliers to be able to pull a nail out, ream the hole, right? Put a push a plug in. This is the lube. You lube up the plug and you push this in with it. This kind of gives you a screwdriver. I like this blackjack kit. This is probably the best kit on the market. Try learning a little bit about the blackjack company, but I have seen this kit rebranded by another company. I don't know much about them, not sponsored by them, but this seems to be the best kit on the market. To be honest with you though, that's a kind of a low bar. The other kits kind of suck. There's one for like heavy duty trucks. Because they all looked a little different. That's why I was trying to learn about these kits when I bought this one. And I realized that the heavy duty trucks just had the really long and big plugs. And pretty much the light duty car and all the other color cases just had an assortment. And the passenger vehicle one, the black case, I believe, just had the small ones, and like the red and just random colored cases just had an assortment. I just wanted the red case, and it comes with an assortment of different length plugs. But you know, if you do get one of these, learn how to use it. They're not that hard to use. Actually, why I'm thinking about it here, a quick tip with this is, if you have a cheap one of these and you have a drill in your car and you're going to do this, you could actually cut this off, or in this one you could take it right out and you can run this right in your drill. So instead of having to do this by hand, you could actually put this bit in your drill and run it in your drill and run it in and out a couple of times, get you done in seconds, and you're not killing your wrists. Really good tip from a professional mechanic here. And obviously right here, you know, this leads us into the next tool I always try to recommend is, so my opinion on multi-tool is kind of divisive. I don't like carrying them personally because, like I've shown in other videos, I carry an actual designated pair of pliers. It's very rare that I can get what I need done working in the trades or in mechanics with this. I love this tool. If I was going to go into the apocalypse with one tool, it probably would be this Leatherman Surge right here. But in work, doing real work, there's just no this is not a substitute for a slip joint pair of pliers. And obviously this one has this is the Vamp plier set, so it has those teeth, which I find that I use all the time grabbing bolts like this. But we're getting into another topic. Some sort of pair of pliers to keep in your truck. I like this Leatherman. It also gives you a bit extender and a bit kit, so this will get you screwdrivers and a pair of pliers. Two things you want to keep in your car: a screwdriver set, and a pair of pliers. Now, again, you could go like a designated pair of pliers, but I like that this has a knife and a few other tools. The other thing that is worth having is, in my opinion, get you one of these screwdrivers. You can get a lot done with this. This is a Klein. I believe this is their 11-in-1 impact. I like this one. This one is honestly the best one on the market. I tried a bunch of them. I'm probably going to make a video on this tool specifically and why this is the best one on the market. And the reason for that is that this one actually has a designated bit driver in it, to where you can run, in this port, you can actually run actual bits. Whereas all the other ones in this are flip bits. I swapped these flip bits out for Weehaw bits, because I don't care about running this in an impact. But this thing is a wonder screwdriver, in my personal opinion. This one happens to be ratcheting. I actually kind of wish I bought the one without ratcheting function, because it's going to last longer without the ratcheting function. But, oh well. It's not something that I'm going to live or die over. You know, you could pair this with a designated like pair of lineman pliers or slip joint pliers, and you probably could eliminate the multi-tool altogether. But that's just my opinion. You don't have to. The Leatherman Surge or a Leatherman Wave, I mean, you're looking at $100 for a decent multi-tool. You can get this and a decent pair of pliers for like 30 to 40 bucks, right? And you're probably going to have a better tool set than what's in this, or at least a more heavy-duty tool set. You know, this will still do more, and maybe pair this with a good utility knife, right? So maybe if you're on a budget, you don't want to carry a Leatherman, you know, you just can't afford it, or a Gerber. You know, the Gerbers are like $100 too. You know, get these three tools. You know, if you don't want to do these three tools will do everything this will. Sorry, multi-tool fanboys, but this will do more actually than this will. It just will. You know, you can even add a bit kit with this. But I love my Leatherman Surge. EDC, if you use a multi-tool a lot, this is probably the best multi-tool on the market, the Leatherman Surge. But these are better in every way. Okay, moving on. So this is my mobile mechanical tool set. You don't need everything in this box by any means. The next thing is carry you some zip ties. It's really surprising, like tying up fenders and stuff. Maybe one of your fenders or your fender liner falls off. You can zip tie it back up with this. Carry you some good zip ties. It's worth it. But the next tool you're gonna want to carry is get you some sort of wrench set. A small metric wrench set. I actually really like this one to keep in my car. It's not very expensive. It's like $30. I do have my Snap-on, ratcheting wrench set that I keep right there. But this, what you're looking for is to keep a 10 or a 12, whichever one, 10 or 12 millimeter, whichever one you can take your batteries out with. Remember, two things we're worried about is battery issues and tire issues. So you want to be able to swap your battery terminals out. These are the Durotech L pipe wrenches. I have found these incredibly handy. This was like $30. I saw these on Last Best Tool and I bought them immediately because they were like $30, and I've used the crap out of them already. Just doing stuff. You can put a rod in here, get you some extra leverage, a T-handle. You can get straight on. You can get them as an L. Like this thing has just been invaluable. And any sort of rod or shaft, if you're trying to get them on something, then they're kind of a pass-through. So really useful set. They go up to 19. They skip the 11, unfortunately. But I mean, the only time I've ever really used an 11 has been like TPMS sensors, and you're not taking TPMS sensors apart on the side of the road. You need a tire machine to do that. So, you need a wrench set to take out or take a battery apart on the side of the road, right? If you can get to a parts store, theoretically, that's why you carry the jump box so that you can get to the actual store, right, and get you a new battery, or at least get you home safe. The next thing, this is something that's probably going to, especially up here in the north where we get snow, and I drive a passenger car. I have studded tires on here. Studded tires, or just winter tires. If you drive a car, don't skimp out on your tires. That could be the thing that makes or breaks you. But get you some sort of small shovel, right? Something that you can maybe dig yourself out. I bought a surplus military folding shovel. See if I can put this together one hand. This, I haven't used it a ton, but I just wanted something, to kind of keep in my car that's heavy duty, that'll last me a long time. This is a great little work shovel. This will definitely hold up. And I got the case for it. This was like $30, right? You can get one of these for like $30 at a surplus store or off Amazon. Sorry, give me a minute. I'm trying to take this. Trying to fold this back up with one hand here. There we go. And then it just fits right back in here. I'll put that back together here in a second. I could make an argument here that some sort of wire brush or terminal cleaner, or I don't know what you call this stuff. It's like Yeah, we'll just go with wire brush. I don't know why I'm blanking on what to call that right now. But get you some sort of wire brush. You can clean your terminals up. If you open your trunk, and you go to jump start, you realize your battery's dead. Your terminals are all corroded. You have a bunch of blue and gunk and shit. You can use this to clean your battery terminals up. Just useful stuff to keep with your little battery kit. Get you a wrench set, get you a wire brush, get you a jump box, get you a pair of jumper cables. You'll be able to handle most things with your battery. Provided that is the actual issue. Alright, that kind of leads me away from tools to get you out of a mess. So we got a way to take your tire off, we got a tire repair kit, and we got some sort of jack. It doesn't have to be this jack, just some sort of jack. A pair of pliers, or you could get the 3 tools, and you'll still be, you're probably gonna be like $10, like $5 to $10 for the utility knife, 20 to 30 for a decent ratcheting screwdriver. I prefer the Klein because it has the bit driver, so you can carry a bit set with it. And then a decent pair of pliers. You can get a pair of channel lock pliers, USA made, for like 15, 20 bucks, I think, maybe 30 bucks. And you're going to be way less money than this. You're like, 50 to 60 bucks at most for high quality tools. They're going to last you a lifetime. All right. Can't think. One thing that could be worth mentioning, this isn't like you must have it, but it's a good recommendation. If you're up here in the north, or maybe, just a good pair of boots, right? Either wearing a pair of boots like me, or a good pair of muck boots. Keeping your feet wet on the side of the road while you're trying to fix your shit is, it's valuable. Maybe you're in a huge rainstorm or something, or you're in a huge snowstorm. Just being able to keep your feet dry is invaluable. Like, extremely invaluable. Alright, let's move on here. So, the next thing we got here is, I like to carry 1 to 2 wool blankets in my car minimum. Right now as it's winter, I actually have 3 surplus wool blankets right here. They usually are like 30 bucks a piece, and they're really nice, heavy-duty wool blankets. Yes, this one, I believe, is the French military surplus wool blanket. This one is a Canadian military surplus wool blanket. And then, I think... this one is the French Army wool blanket. This one is a recreation surplus of the U.S. Army surplus wool blanket. So a good set of wool blankets, especially if you get stranded in the cold, it could be, especially in a snowstorm, it could be a few hours before a tow truck can come and get you out of a ditch. Maybe you can't dig yourself out. Well, just wool blankets is kind of worth it, right? And let's be honest right now, if you have a good set of tires and a good shovel, there's probably nothing that you're going to be able to do. If you get in over your head with and you can't dig yourself out, you obviously you can carry kitty litter, put some of that down behind the tire here, and try to get you some traction. But it's, a shovel and some kitty litter is pretty much as good as it gets when it comes to self-rescue. And a lot of states ban like wenches and stuff because someone can come flying around a corner and get beheaded. Yeah, up here in Maine, they actually have banned self-recovery, which personally, if I'm fucked in a ditch, and I'm in a bad situation, I'm gonna do what I need to do. The other thing, what might be worth carrying, is if you live like in kind of more of the backwoods, where you have a serious risk of not being able to get a tow truck out, or maybe you're a serious risk of getting into a situation where you don't have service, or could be a while for a tow truck. A good pair of sleeping blankets. These are surplus U.S. Army -40 sleeping system. There's 3 different sleeping bags with this system, but it's not really important of what I'm carrying. It's get yourself a good pair of sleeping bags, a good pair of wool blankets. You know, you got to keep yourself warm because you never know how long it could be before, you know, help arrives. And help is only as good as however many people they have running and however many people need help. You know, trust me, you don't want to be a victim. The whole point of this kit is so that you don't end up as a victim. Now, well, last and final is a good pair of gloves. Obviously, these are the same gloves I keep in my EDC. I carry these on me daily, especially up here in the winter. But it might even be worth it. If you don't carry gloves on you all the time, put a pair either in your car or in your truck. Keep a good pair of heavy-duty work gloves, right? Keep your hands warm. If you're out here working, it's freezing cold. You know, every day for the past week has been like 0 to 10. Like, it's been like 6 degrees for the past week with wind chill, or before wind chill. You know, so it's been cold. It's been really cold. So it's been like 6 degrees before wind chill. With wind chill, I think it's been like -10 or -20 up here. It's been fucking cold. So the next thing, this is kind of a luxury item. Personally, with my current sleeping bags, I don't really need heat. Like, my sleeping bags are enough to keep me warm with my blankets and very cold. But I like personally having the ability to have some sort of portable heater. This is pretty dangerous using this as a heater. I'm pretty smart when I do it. I have a way to prop this up so it does not move. But some sort of heater, right? This might be worth having if you live up north. Some way to heat up water. I also keep this pot on me. I just used it to cook, so it's a little dirty. But I like having a good pot, just a basic pot. You don't need nothing complicated, just a stainless steel pot. Something to put over a burner. And then I have this as a heater and a cooker. And I keep at least 1 to 2 cans of propane in my car at all times. Right now I have like 8 of these things in here because I use this thing almost daily. But that's besides the point. You know, a good heater might be something to think about if there is a, you know, remote possibility that you could get stranded on the side of the road, and who knows how long help's gonna last. And God forbid, you don't want to run out of gas, right? You don't want to be sitting there having to run your engine. Maybe you run out of gas, maybe you forgot to gas up and you're kind of getting a little low, and then you get into and then you hit a snowbank and, you know, you realize you don't have service. And it is a blizzard out. And you kind of realize it's going to be safer for you to stand here and wait till it clears up a little bit before you go for help. That gets me into the last and probably most important thing that's going to keep you alive is get you, you know, probably if it's too cold out, you don't want to leave this in your car because it will freeze and that's not much use to you. But bring you some water and maybe keep you some snacks in here, right? Some protein bars, you know, whatever. Get you some sort of emergency food and carry you some water on you daily, right? Trust me, you'll be thankful one day that you have some water in there. And just being a little bit more prepared in general, you realize, hey, you know, I see someone on the side of the road, I can stop and help them. I can be a good Samaritan. If you see people on the side of the road, you know, they're trying to do something, maybe they look like they're in an emergency, try to stop and help them. You know, even if you can't do anything, you know, you can at least try. Like if they're having a tire issue, they're having a battery issue. The other day, a couple of ratchet straps might not even be a bad idea. I saw somebody in town the other day that had his gas tank that fell down on the side of the road. So me, another good Samaritan, were underneath this young kid's car trying to ratchet strap his gas tank back up for him, you know? And we got it. We ratchet strapped it up. We zip tied it. You know, that shit wasn't going nowhere. But this kind of, like, things do happen. Things do happen, you know? So you could even make the argument to have some ratchet straps in here. I shockingly don't have any, because I've never needed them on the side of the road, so it never really occurred to me. But now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should put a couple of ratchet straps in here. It's worth having. You know, if you drive a truck, it might even be worth it so that you can help somebody else out, or somebody can help you out, to keep some tow ropes in your car or your truck, so that if a truck pulls up to you. I've had a couple of trucks stop and try to help me when I was a lot younger and I was driving a car with bald ass tires, and nobody had a tow rope, right? But they were trucks. They probably could have pulled me out, no problem, but nobody had tow rope. That's another thing I don't carry. So, you know, I'm pretty prepared, generally speaking. If I'm on the side of the road, I'll be all right. But this is kind of a wake-up call. If you're on the side of the road, you might not be all right. So don't take this seriously, right? This shit's important. Remember, be a hero. Don't be a victim. Peace.